Salutations, my fellow dudes and dudettes, and welcome back to Sonic the Hedgehog 2! Now we are in Oil Ocean, and, okay, this is the part of the game where things start to fall apart, at least for me. Oil Ocean is very dangerous. If not for, like, the level design itself, because there are spikes all over the place. At least that's what I like to think. I'm always getting hit by these things called octopuses. And then there's these doggone seahorses we're going to see a little bit later. I actually forgot to look up the name for them, so I apologize. But, not for nothing, I can't stand this level. Not only can it be absurd. Yeah, those seahorses right there, they could die in a fire. I hate them. Kind of wish I had some sort of match or something. This place is covered in oil, after all. I could care less if this place gets blown to smithereens. I hate this place. I'm actually waiting until the next zone to do the 6 Chaos Emerald stage. Help me. Because the next stage, you could argue, is infinitely worse than this one. But I don't know about you guys, but I have a much more frustrating time with Oil Ocean. Because at least with the next level, I could get some mileage out of the level design itself. I can't get any fun out of this, minus the gimmick with this one. And we should be coming up towards it fairly soon. Got all these platforms that shoot, got all these lids. See, and that kind of crap drives me nuts right there. This part sucks too, look at this. Like, throughout all my playthroughs, I can't seem to avoid that seahorse. But anyways, what you basically do is you're going to jump onto that thing I just, well, jumped on. And then these things are going to constantly shoot you. These little cannon things will shoot you from one to the other. Interesting note, if you have Tails with you and he's right alongside you when you do this, you go twice as they shoot twice as fast. So if Tails is still with you at this point in the game, make sure he tags along inside those cannons. Got these fans that push you back. I mean, I love the music and the aesthetic is really nice, so I'll give it that. But otherwise, I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. I'm glad Sonic Mania sort of does this level a lot better, because otherwise, I couldn't care for it. Sorry about that. Had to make sure my throat wasn't overly dry. Now this place is interesting because there's essentially 3 different paths, because there's 2 different chutes you could go through which will lead you to the cannons, or you could just outright ignore them and just go to the right. As you can see, if you push that, basically you just have to push that spring in order for it to launch you, otherwise it just doesn't do anything. And you have to push it all the way, otherwise it's not going to send you very far. You're not going to be able to complete that loop. I managed to avoid those guys no problem. Not sure how, but I did. This zone is also home to one of the most annoying bosses in the game, if not the most annoying boss, not counting the final one, obviously. And if it's your first time playing this game, I wouldn't be surprised if you did manage to make it this far, your first game over will most likely happen in this zone. If not on the way to the boss itself might give you a lot of trouble. I remember it giving me trouble when I was growing up, trying to beat this game. And that didn't happen until several years later, because back then I was pretty terrible at video games. At least, like this one. I can't say, I can't really, like, speak for myself when it comes to other games. But speaking of the boss, we're already there. Now, Dr. Robotnik is going to be in the submarine. I'm not sure how it manages to actually manage in the giant, dense oil, but whatever. You're only going to be able to get a few pot shots. This is that one case. This is the case where, like, just getting really aggressive will not immediately win you the day. So get as many pot shots in him as you can. I do not believe you can get a total of 8. Like, 7 is probably the most you're going to get out of. He's going to shoot this snake, and you have to avoid its head. The rest of its body is fine, but you don't want to get hit by that Sharpie. Sharpie. Just... Why did I say that? But... like, he shoots that little metallic snake. Watch out for the head point, for the head part. And then this laser snake is going to come up, and it's going to shoot 3 lasers. If it shoots across the platform, it's essentially going to create a little firewall that rises up a little bit. So you're going to want to avoid that as best you can. And a lot of players, including myself, died to that particular snake. It's really annoying. But speaking of annoying, we got arguably the worst level in the game. I have a much more frustrating time with Oil Ocean usually, but unfortunately this Let's Play made me think otherwise, because, whew, I actually failed that special stage. I don't want you to see that. You already know that I failed because I just told you, but I don't want to waste your time with it. Alright, so this stage is really terrible. Not because of the level design itself. I actually find the level design to be a little enjoyable at times. It's enemies like that. Those are shell crackers. Yep. Those are shell crackers. They have a large arm they can extend, and don't underestimate that thing's reach. That thing can reach you much farther than you would think, and it's really obnoxious. There's actually certain platforming sections in this zone, throughout this entire zone, where you're gonna, you have to jump across some terrain, or it's gonna be some lava or something, and there's literally gonna be a shell cracker standing near the edge of another platform that you're supposed to be jumping on. It's going to attack you, and then you're just gonna fall back down. Speaking of falling back down, here's an, like, you got all these screws you gotta run on in order to make it go up. If you got Tails with you, it'll go twice as fast. And that part, those parts are really annoying because you got these star badniks called Asterons, and whenever they catch wind of you, they're going to actually self-destruct after a few seconds, and their 5 endpoints are going to separate essentially. And if you manage to get hit by one of those as you're trying to go up this corkscrew, you're gonna fall back down, and then you're gonna have to backtrack because the screw's not gonna go back down on its. The screw is not gonna just go back down if you like wanted to. So basically, what you want to do is ooh, frame rate. Okay, no, that was just my video. That was weird. But like, you're gonna have to backtrack a bit for the corkscrew to respawn at the bottom, or like the nut that you're riding. That sounds really terrible. I'll talk about those slicers in the next act. The other thing you should know about Metropolis Zone is not only is it the longest has the longest acts in the game, it's the only zone in the game with 3 acts. And that might drive people up a wall. If you manage to get by Oil Ocean, well, for one, I commend you. And for 2, this is most likely where you're going to really get annoyed. You might manage to survive, but you're going to hate this level. If it's not for the shell crackers, if it's not the Asteroids, it's those stupid, outright irritating slicers. Sorry, I had to catch myself for a second. Basically, these little praying mantis things, that's what they look like to me anyways. Once they spot you, they're gonna throw their little claws at you like boomerangs. Granted, if they completely fail, it's not like they can grow back. They're completely vulnerable after that. But my biggest issue with the slicers, or just any of the enemies in general, is the enemy placement. Like you're running down a section, you're having a little bit of fun. There's actually these giant like wheels that you go through. It's pretty fun. It's just that, like, literally in the middle of this path where you're actually enjoying yourself, you just run into a slicer because it's like sorry, I didn't mean to get in your way. It's like, come on. Again, you can disagree with me if you want. You're completely entitled to that. I don't blame you. I just find Oil Ocean to be a little more obnoxious. If memory serves me well, I didn't get a game over on Metropolis. I game overed on Oil Ocean at least once or twice. Granted, that's probably just a me thing. Here I am ranting about the enemy placement. Yeah, I'm not talking about the special stage itself. Special stage 6. This stage is the reason why I couldn't bring Tails along for the entire journey. Because you might have noticed that you kind of have to swerve left and right in that previous section for no reason. Like, I should have explained this earlier during the LP. Whenever you move in the special stage, there's like a second delay before Tails actually moves along with you, and that could be the difference between you barely meeting the quota for the Chaos Emerald, or like barely missing the quota for the Chaos Emerald. And there is no in between for that, unfortunately, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So that's why Tails is not here. Don't worry, you'll see Tails later. I got these little chains, platforms, gears, I guess. I died. I'm grateful that I managed to rank in as many lives as I could. Because unfortunately, this part is actually quite long. I did die a good chunk, and I wasn't sure what places would be good to like edit out stuff. It doesn't help that, like I said, these levels are pretty darn long. That shellcracker is stupid. Screw that shellcracker. Now, I understand that, like, you could argue, you just gotta be a little patient. And you might be right, because with that shellcracker's placement, and I don't learn my lesson at all, like, at all. But basically, what you're gonna want to do with that shellcracker, well, that's weird, the video caused the rings to whatever. What you want to do with that shellcracker is wait until it just walks backwards, so it gives you a bit of leeway. Oh, by the way, don't fall down here, because 9 times out of 10, you're not getting back up. And it really sucks. And this is the part of the stage where I just die a lot, because this stage really... It's like I stated that I hate Oil Ocean more, but what you're seeing right now might make you think otherwise. And... Truth be told, I was really, like, by the end of the third act, I was aggravated. I was so angry. I had a miserable time with this stage, and I was trying to compliment it the entire way through. Those blocks with the spikes, by the way, the spikes always come out in a clockwise formation. And I'm dead again. This level sucks. But yeah, like I said, the spikes always come out of the sides in a clockwise formation. I wish I knew that was there beforehand. So yeah, if you see the spike sticking out of the left side, give it a few seconds, because the last thing you want to do is jump onto the block and then you just get stabbed in the and then you just get you just get a spike jammed right up your rear. Not only does that sound incredibly painful, it's also really annoying because you're trying to get through this level and you're just not having a good time, and everything is just falling apart around you. This slicer's not too bad, because at the very least I can see him coming. And that's probably the other reason why this level took as long as it did. I kind of took my time in certain areas. You wouldn't think that from the previous area where I died like 3 or 4 times. Ugh. Excuse me, I had a bit of gas there. But yeah, if I had to provide any amount of advice to you, take your time. You got 10 minutes, and trust me, that is more than enough time. I clicked through that Asteron endpoint, by the way. But yeah, 10 minutes is more than enough time to complete any of these levels, so don't rush things, because otherwise you're just going to constantly be running into enemies and all that. Sorry about that. And you can totally argue that's the game's fault for having terrible aim placement. You're totally right. But that's still something you should take into consideration. You gotta take your time with this zone, otherwise you are going to get a game over here. And heck, in my case, I might have 14 lives right now, but I'm not saying it's impossible. Like, to jump the gun a little bit, because I actually take out the boss quite quickly when we get to the final boss. But I remember that spike placement is garbage too. I remember playing this game years ago, and like I would rank in the lives. Real quick. You probably noticed that I paused the game there when I got hit. For some odd reason, my HDMI cord sort of went out for a second, so I lost my video output was just gone. It was just a black screen, so I had to fix that real quick. So at the very least, I edited it out, so you didn't have to see Sonic standing there and floating there in pain for a good minute. But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, like, I would get to the final boss, and I would have lives that continues up the wazoo, and they would all be gone. I would literally lose them all. Because back then, I didn't know how to approach the final boss. You don't have any rings in the final boss, just like in Sonic 1. And it could be really, really intense. But we'll get to the final boss in the last part, which will be the next part. Just give you that heads up. At the very least, my surplus of deaths should be over now. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna get hit a whole bunch. You're gonna go to the right here. Grab that checkpoint, please. Every checkpoint in this zone is a blessing, because you don't know when you're gonna spontaneously bite it. Because, you know, the enemy placement, what have you, it's all terrible. I believe there's actually a shell cracker or slicer up ahead, like right on this platform that I'm about to jump on. Yeah, shell cracker. See, look at that! At least there's another checkpoint nearby, but still. Like, who does, like, what can... Like, I understand it's supposed to be like this is a true final level of the game because the the levels that come after this are literally are actually pretty short. At least if you know what you're doing. Well, not the next level, but the next level is really short if you know what you're doing. And not to mention, I don't think that the next levels are as dangerous, minus the minus the very last level, are as dangerous as Metropolis. And as you can see, we're practically going on 4 minutes with this stage. So I feel like I should bring up some kind of subject matter, so I'm not going insane from dying over and over again. So at the time of this recording, yesterday, I actually found out that that this game is actually coming to the Nintendo Switch, and a lot of neat things are going to be added. Apparently, there's going to be like a time attack thing. The drop dash from Sonic Mania is going to be in it. And it's pretty good stuff. I wish this happened sooner because and I really should have mentioned this at the beginning of the LP as well. You might have noticed that there was something a bit off with the sound effects throughout this playthrough, and I don't know what's up with the port of Sonic 2 that I was recording off of. It was from the Ultimate Genesis collection on the PS3. And I don't know why, but sound effects just seem really off, and I really hate it. Sonic 2 for the Switch should be coming out on the 20th. I wish it was, again, I wish it was sooner. I would have recorded that version, so the sound effects wouldn't be so weird. Alright, so I should probably get to explaining this boss, because we've actually been here for a little while. Now, if you wanna just go gung-ho all aggressive, be my guest. Like, as long as you manage to get a hold of a ring, you should be fine. But basically what you want to do is wait until he hovers just slightly above the ground, and he sends all of his little, Pennsylvania lottery balls all over the place. Or Powerball. There we go. Like win the lottery or whatever. Like, you're gonna want to wait until he spreads them out, so you can get a couple hits in, and then you're gonna want to hit the bubble, the little egg, Robotnik bubble that comes out. And you should be able to take this boss fight, you should be able to take the boss out pretty well. It just takes a while if you're gonna play the patience game. But, now that we're done Oil Ocean and Metropolis, next time on Sonic the Hedgehog 2, we're gonna end this game. So until then, I got a juice.